This Cracker Barrel 400 betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN for a $25
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, first and foremost, I would like to know, are you well rested and just adjusted after the chaos of the world's, I guess, most important weekend of motorsports racing? It was a lot of laps that we watched this weekend.
It was a lot of laps we watched this weekend. It was great. Fantastic weekend of racing. Plus, we had some really great races. I mean, the Indy 500 was insane, crazy, but it was a good race. Coke 600 put itself on the map for one of the best next-gen races we've had so far in this car. Once again, mile and a half, taking care of business and showing us that it's great. It was in, trucks, Xfinity in there, the wiener races. We had it all, Rod. It was a beautiful, beautiful weekend of racing. And
I would like to say that the wiener trucks put in more miles this weekend than Kyle Larson did. That is the official tally.
That's a low bar.
Yeah. Well,
Low bar.
It's so crazy that that weekend just ate Larson alive. So,
man, it's sad because, it's this great task of doing the double and there's so much lead up and so much build up and so much that goes into all the planning. And then the first year it gets rained out and it's very anticlimactic. Like Andy's running good at the end and then gets a speeding penalty. It doesn't even get a good finish. And we saw how fast the 5 car was at Charlotte with Justin Allgaier. Like it finished 13th, I think it was. And then this year it's like, all right, here we go. Weather was sketchy, right? Was he even going to make it to the end of the 500? Maybe, right? There was Jordan Bianchi said it sounded like they were going to hold the 600 a little bit, the start if they needed to, while he was en route. But it just, he wrecks getting up to speed, like going through the gears. It just not, I don't know, very uncharacteristic. And then same thing in the Cup race. He's leading and just dumps it and then gets caught. You play with the squirrels, you get your nuts cracked later on as he's in the back trying to fight his way back through. He's just wrong place, wrong time, and gets caught up in the big one there. So rough weekend for Mr.
Indeed. Larson. Although I will maybe agree with Trampled by Squirtle saying the wiener race was objectively better than Monaco. I enjoyed Monaco for what it was, but yeah, there was not a lot of intrigue in that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to take F1 for what it is. That's the only way to appreciate F1 is to understand what F1 is. F1 is not NASCAR, and it never will be NASCAR. It never has been NASCAR, and it's just not. That's not what it's about. But in its own right, it's still great. It's still a lot of fun. And especially at Monaco. I mean, they threw in the 2 pit stops mandatory to try and spice up some fun, and we've seen that fail in NASCAR before, and didn't happen, but that's okay. King checking in, saying best driver in the world. I don't think he's talking about Ty Gibbs just yet, Rod, but Kyle Larson remains the best driver in the world. Marcus was checking in the chat as well, said first high. Who's everyone's pick to win Nashville? Rod, who do you think Marcus picked to win?
I'm going to go ahead and say he is going to pick Christopher Bell to win 16 races in one race because Marcus loves him from Christopher Bell. Marcus, we love you.
Yes, he did say he predicts that Christopher Bell will win at Nashville. Plus, he dominated here last year, leading 131 of 331 laps and sweeping the stages before crashing in.
And that is the key too, folks. This is what, when you handicap things like this, you handicap the crashing out or the having your car completely gack out on you, even though you're running third for 2/3 of the race. You pick, you know which drivers that happens to, and you know which drivers it doesn't happen to. So I love this. Pokers and Henry saying Sheldon Gibbs. Thank you, Pokers and Henry. I absolutely love you, even though you're making fun of us for not being the F1 pod. We know.
Don't remind us this isn't the F1 pod. R.I.P. to the F1 Gambling
I'd pour
podcast.
one out, but
it had its day.
Hey, speaking of having their day, the guys of the SGP are definitely having a day. They're going to be ripping packs live on air next Monday night. They're breaking a case of Panini Prisms with DAPS, and you can get 10% off of your favorite team with promo code SGPN. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/break to get in on the action, because if gambling wasn't enough, rip open those packs of cards, ladies and gentlemen. We'll gamble on which cards you get out of that. I think we'll make it a game. But sour tea.
Yeah, that's and the fun thing about hey, sour tea. He's just waiting for the Swalwich matchups. The fun thing about like Sean and Ryan too on the main show is they make everything really exciting. It doesn't matter what they're talking about. So this is you can go find a million videos of card break stuff on the internet, and I don't watch many, and I don't know what they look like or how much exciting they are, but these guys are guaranteed to make things exciting for you. So you always have that.
Indeed, you do. But you know what you have this weekend? You've got Nashville. We are talking about the Cracker Barrel 400. It's funny because they've been showing Cracker Barrel commercials on TV lately. And I turned to the kids and I said, listen here, I miss me some Cracker Barrel. And sure enough, the Cracker Barrel 400 is in Nashville. It's not in Nashville. I will get to where it's at later on. I was told to pronounce it correctly, which, by the way, I was stationed in Tennessee long enough to know how to actually pronounce it this week. So you guys are good to go. But yes, the Cracker Barrel 400, 1.33 miles. Cody, this is a different type of track for them, to be sure. And I'm looking forward to it because I need the breather after the Coke 600 and all of the nonsense that's been going on. So Justin saying, just realized watching the stream that YouTube unsubscribed me from the channel. No wonder he wasn't getting predictions anymore. Well, resubscribe. We need that subscriber count.
Yeah, I guess that's a good reminder to make sure you're subscribed if you want.
All right. Well, Sage, I think, is a actual new fan now, longtime listener, first time live streamer.
Hey, Sage.
Live streamer. Blind, actually, you guys input made a monster following for the sport. Yes, well, Sage, we're happy. And
hey, shout out to you, Sage. There's you can still enjoy racing. Do the MRN broadcast of the race. And I know my buddy James will definitely agree with this, but arguably at times, although this last weekend's call was very good, the MRN broadcast literally paints such a good picture that you feel like you're there. Like it's they do a pretty hell of a good job over there.
Yeah, I do enjoy the guys when they go turn by turn, and then they've got the different people for every turn. It just you always get the perspective of that person right where that turn is.
Like it's amazing to me when you listen to that call how just smooth the transition is. Like they know when you're going from turn 1 to turn 2 and on and on. It's it really is great.
It is. All right, great though is being in Nashville for the Cracker Barrel 400. We are set for 1.333 miles around this paved track, or 300 laps rather around this 1.333 mile paved track for 399.900 miles. Just a freckle short of 400 miles proper in Lebanon, Tennessee. Yes, I know it's spelled Lebanon, but it's pronounced Lebanon by the locals. So for those of you who keep track of that kind of thing, I love it because I was stationed very close to that when I was in Fort Campbell. So I did pick up on the vernacular out there and how to pronounce. It's not Nashville, it's Nashville, Tennessee.
You really do pick up the like local stuff when you're stationed somewhere and somewhere for a long time in the military. I was stationed down in Mississippi, from Nebraska, and we live here again now, but I was stationed in Mississippi, and like when I moved back here, I had a little bit of a Southern accent, and it still like at times kind of comes out because you just kind of acquire whatever you're around so much, which is
so.
exciting.
Then upstate New York was, I think I adopted asshole. I think that was the language. No, I'm just kidding. I love all you guys in upstate New York. Believe me, in California, we've got our own language, and you guys wouldn't speak it out here either anyway. So, yeah, again, so we're here, and no real surprises, though, Cody, in the entry list, right? There's maybe a name or two out there for us.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Fincham's in this race, Rod. I know we want to give him his due. He's going to be in the 66 car. The, right here over my shoulder, 2009 F1 champion, JJ Yaley, returning to the field in the 44 car. And some guy named Corey Heim, is going to be making another start, returning to the scene of the crime. I don't know if there's really a crime, but this is where he made his first career Cup Series start last year here at this track. So he's doing so once again in the 2311 racing machine. So he'll be back in the number 67 car. Of course, there is trucks.
Yeah, all three
weekends. We do have a full, I don't know why I thought there wasn't trucks, but we do have a full slate. So he'll be pulling double duty. Yeah, that's it. I wanted to also shout out, Rod. Our friend Kurt hit me up on over on the X, said, "Hey, Cody, been listening to your podcast for over a year now. A lot of episodes. We talk about the paint jobs on the cars and how great they are. His wife's company is sponsoring John Hunter Nemechek's car this week. She got to design the whole thing, and he thinks that it looks really cool. Reaching out to see if we would mention it, and says happy betting at the end. But that is pretty sweet. I have not seen the car yet. I should actually see if we can pull it up. But he's going to be sponsored by, as I look at the list here, drivevalve.com. So pretty awesome. We'll have to definitely, but yeah. So when you see the paint scheme, a listener's wife designed it, which is hell yeah. Shout out to her. That's pretty awesome. And we're going to be talking about John Hunter on this episode.
Man, we haven't really gloated and gushed over our audience in a long time, because there are some fantastic people out there doing some fantastic things. And man, and by the way, this is a quick plug for you. We are ever so dangerously close to getting to that 1,000 mark in subscribers. I mean, there's not many hands left to count down. So if you guys are out there and you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, what are you waiting for, first and foremost? And second of all, go jump on it, because we're getting close, and I can almost taste that 1K goodness.
Yeah, we are 29, Rod. 29 away. So these guys, I don't even know why we do the show anymore, Rod. Everybody in the chat already knows all my picks. So
well, that's what did we say?
Hey, you know what? If stuff works, it does. We bet some of the same guys for top Toyotas every single week. Chase Briscoe, top Toyota hit last week. It's like, something's not broken.
Well, we always say that we are educators first and picks second. So I think we educated them far too well, and maybe we need to change up. Maybe the teachers need to change up their thought process to keep ahead of the students at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, then let's get to some of our favorite bets for this show, because that is what we are here to do. But we are also here to give a little love, just like in NASCAR, to some of our sponsors. And let's do that first by telling you about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There's no usage fees. There's no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards on all of it, and you get 100% approval for all of your betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25. Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. It is time for Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is going long for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Hop in game one, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonuses get. We gave you a ton of underdog picks, and by God, if most of them did not hit, so make sure you're checking out our DFS episode by the end of the week and check out some of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays. because we've been getting pretty good at this lately, and you've been earning some money if you've been following us. So sign up now with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. All right, so, Cody, like we said, it is the Cracker Barrel 400. This is a 1.33 mile, not quite a mile and a half, not quite a mile track. Unique in its own right. The Nashville Superspeedway. That is not a super speedway, but we go with it anyways. But yeah, so
yeah, it is called the Nashville Superspeedway, but yeah, don't be alarmed. It is not an actual super speedway. This is kind of an interesting track. It's a 1.33 mile oval, but it's concrete. So most of the tracks to race on are asphalt. Concrete's like Bristol, Dover. So I was looking over at iFantasy Race. I was looking at their similar track guide that they have over there. And he says it's almost a mix between Dover and a high-speed mile and a half. I'll note, though, it's really neither and more of a hybrid. So, as we're kind of looking through things, we've been on a string of mile and a halves lately. So I think that gives us a good idea of what we've seen recently, right? Current form, where we're sitting with that. We've had 4 races here now at Nashville, but 3 in the next gen car as they've come here each year. Asterisk on last year, Rod, if you go back and remember, that was the 5 overtime finish. Joey Logano, I think, was 14th with 2 laps to go, ends up winning in the 5th overtime. Everybody ran out of fuel except for him. So when you're looking at the results for last year, be careful. I actually went back to 2 laps to go. I screenshotted the running order at the time. I sent it to Rod, and I was like, these are the numbers I'm using for last year's race, because there was so much crazy shit that happened in the last that it's hard to just look at the results. So just kind of want to toss that out there. I know a lot of you guys do your own research, and you should, and educate yourself, right? But just keep in mind that we did go to a record 5 overtimes last year, and that definitely changed up and mixed the results. So, a little bit of looking back at the 3 races we've had here with the asterisk of I chose the 2 laps to go before that first caution that sent all the overtime spiraling. DG rather, saying, I still don't know how Logano didn't run out of fuel. Him and Scott Dixon have got those special fuel saving skills that nobody knows how they stuff the extra fuel in those cars. But Denny Hamlin's team would sure love to know how to get fuel.
Ooh, boy, that is not, poor Denny Hamlin. I feel for that guy, sort of, kind of. But yeah, Scott Dixon saved a lot of fuel, though, in the Indy 500 by not finishing. So that's definitely how you save fuel right there. Hey, I hope it's outright.
Yeah,
man.
all right, Peter Rod's outright. That was an interesting day for sure. All right, one more thing before we actually get into the picks, Rod. There was some Heim conversation going on here in the chat. He ran 13th at Kansas last time out, so a great run. Do you bet on his top 10? He didn't make either of our cards. The problem is the books are very aware of Corey Heim, clearly, because of the Truck Series. And he's had lesser odds everywhere than his teammate, who's full-time in Riley Herbst has. So he's only 3-1 for a top 10. Hey, it's pretty rough. So didn't make our cards. We'll probably talk about him in the truck. Well, we'll 100% talk about him in the truck race, because you have to talk about him every time you talk about the trucks. But did not make the Cup Series card.
Yeah, I would love nothing more than to suggest to you a Corey Heim top 10, but I can't pull the trigger.
It would be amazing but it's as short as he is. When you've got guys like John Nemechek who have finished top 10 in 2 of the last 3 mile-and-a-half races at 14-1, and Heim's at 3-1. It's really hard to make that bet. For as talented as Heim is, as great of a driver he is, on a 4th team over there, all that stuff, just it makes it tough to bet on. But I think he should have a good week, and maybe he'll come up in the DFS.
Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But that is not this episode. This episode, of course, is the betting episode. So, Cody, as you screenshotted me ever so nicely, like you said, the running order, you're paying close attention to how that race ended up before the 5 overtimes. Let's start setting up our card, my friend.
Yes, we're going to start in qualifying this week. They've got the books. We were a little anxious this morning we exchanged good morning texts and pushed the show back a little because there was nothing available. And then they blessed us with everything, which is great. Love that. And then we've got qualifying odds. So I'm going to go to the qualifying market. Rod's favorite driver, Carson Hocevar. He can sit on the pole at 18-1, Rod. Has he qualified really well this season? No, he's not most of the time. But he sat on the pole at Texas just a couple of weeks ago, mile and a half, intermediate, all that fun stuff. 9th place run at Bristol as well. He could qualify on the pole. He could also start 30th. It's really kind of anywhere either way, right? But at 18-1, we're taking the shot to start on the pole. And then Chase Briscoe is 40-1, Rod. 40-1 for the 19 car for JGR to sit on the pole in this race. He had the pole last week at Charlotte in a very similar track type with a fast car. I don't understand why he's at 40-1. That's crazy to me. 4th at Darlington, a higher speed intermediate. 4th at Miami as well. So he's had some good qualifying. Again, they haven't all been great, but Denny Hamlin, I wanted to bet on to win the pole, but he's like plus 200 because he's won 2 or 3 poles here in the next gen era. So Gibbs has already had the speed, and Briscoe should not be 40-1. So a couple of pole odds for you before we jumped into the main stuff, Rod. And now it's time for the main stuff. I'm going to start with a head-to-head. Give me Chase Briscoe, who I just mentioned, over Joey Logano, minus 115. If you look at their head-to-heads here, again, the stats that I'm using from last year are the second place or 2 laps to go stats. Joey Logano 14th. I know he ends up winning at the end of the day. Briscoe 17th. Logano actually 3 for 3 over Briscoe at Nashville. So I'm going to toss that out there, even though I'm betting the other side of it. Briscoe was in the 14 car, got in a wreck the first year, just had some struggles in the other years. I'm not overly worried about it because you look at what have you done for me lately. Quiet consistency out of Chase Briscoe, which I love. I know some of you think I hate Chase Briscoe. I was against him early this season. I'm all on the bandwagon now. 3rd place last week at Charlotte. He cashed that 12-1 for us. Top finishing Toyota. He was 4th place at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. 4th place at Bristol. Again, some transfer over from Bristol to here. Joey Logano in those races. 17th at Charlotte last week. 9th at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. 24th at Bristol. Easy wins by Chase Briscoe in all of those. So yes, 0 for 3 at Nashville, in their 3 head-to-heads in the next gen for Briscoe. Not worried about that. He's in a new car, obviously a much better ride, much better car. And they've started to put it together. He's stringing it all out. It's looking good for Briscoe here lately. Joey, again, hardest guy in the garage to predict. So does Joey come out and just dominate this race and win? He could, absolutely. Does it go to 5 overtimes and he stretches the fuel for 3,000 laps and wins? Absolutely could happen. But he could also be battling Cody Ware and JJ Yaley for 34th place the entire day. And you're just like, well, shit happens, right? Briscoe, on the other hand, I'm just expecting a solid, decent run from him. Going to be up near the front. That's what I want, is the consistency in a head-to-head. So give me Chase Briscoe over Joey Logano. Minus 115. You can get that one over on ESPN Bet.
I really do love that people think that we all out hate the drivers that we fade when we fade the drivers. Like I don't personally hate Carson Hocevar. It's not as if I'm out there actively hating Carson Hocevar, but I can separate my discontent with what's happening on the track from the human being in that one. Much like the same I can say with Ty Gibbs. It's not like I really loathe Ty Gibbs. It's just, much like with me, when I go through a cold streak in picks, you can hate me, my picks, but don't hate me. Like, I'm still the same guy that will give you a good pick every once in a while, and everyone pick. And that's really how this all works, right?
Every once in a while.
Say again?
I think it's a little more often than
that's true that I give you a bad pick. That is very true. I give you a ton of it, but no, listen, and I get that. So for me, it's like, I don't know if I backed to Carson Hocevar poll pick, but I will say that yes, he is definitely capable of doing it. It's just putting it together and not having his car blow up when he's running third most of the race. As also for Briscoe, right? We picked the time when it was not good to be on Briscoe, and we told you stop being on Briscoe. And then we said there's going to come a time where Briscoe will catch up with this, where he will learn this JGR car. Guess what? He's learning the JGR car. It's not as if we just willy-nilly pick these things to hate and to not be good at. So, all right. So, I will set up my first pick. What's up?
Laura, it's all money. Jimmy Johnson.
But I did tell you guys that I'm going to give you Jimmy
Uh.
Johnson picks, whether or not you want them, right? It's not those ones you can fade until you're blue in the face, and I don't even care. But like my heart sings for Jimmy Johnson, and I hate that he always has to end up learning something new about this next gen car every time he steps in it. So, yes, Laura, thank you very much. Yeah, definitely.
Brutal.
King cheered though when his motor blew, so thank you, King. At least you're on my side. Speaking of somebody that this head-to-head matchup, I love the books for this. If I could find the folks that set up the ESPN bets books, I want to give them a gigantic hug, because this one's like the bad luck Bears type of a bet right here. It is who is going to have the worst luck. And JDK, Reddick's short with a massive hog because he's been stepping on that shit week after week. I mean, listen, man, he is short. I will say that because I stand next to him, and he and I are both the same height, and I've never been called tall a day in my life. So, but I'm going to take Ryan Blaney over Tyler Reddick. I know this is minus 125, but you only pay the juice if you lose. And if I read off to you Tyler Reddick's finishes, I mean, really overall, right? 4 top 10 finishes and 13 starts. That is not what you expect out of the 45 machine. But if you read off his finishes from the last 5 races, it reads like the saddest book in the world. You'd wonder which front row motorsports car this is, or no, I'm sorry, which Cody Ware this would be, but it's not. 18th at Bristol, 21st at Texas, 17th at Kansas, 26th at Charlotte. I mean, we're talking just hitting on some hard times for Tyler Reddick. And Bubba Wallace is not doing much better lately either. This 2311 team seems to have slipped off a cliff right now and can't find its way out. So it's tough, right? And I know that you say, but Tyler Reddick has been good on these mile and a half. Tyler Reddick's been good. Tyler Reddick's good. Yeah, I get that. But if you look at Tyler Reddick's stats on this particular track, it's not even really all that great. Tyler Reddick, Nashville Superspeedway. He did get a 3rd place last year, but again, he wasn't anywhere near the top 3 before the end of those last laps when maybe Joey Logano pumped some fuel into his tank and was able to keep him out. But before that, 30th in the 45 car after starting in 2nd place. He did lead 33 laps in this race, but 18th and 18th in the 8 car before that. It's definitely not been the best for Tyler Reddick rather. And where does that put him? It puts him about 10th overall in the heat next gen speed rankings heat chart from Nashville, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race. If I stutter a little bit, it's because when I hit the button, there's a lag in my computer right now. Everything in my house is deciding to come against me. But anyways, but for Ryan Blaney, a little better of a story for Ryan Blaney. He is actually 10th overall in next gen average finish on this track, whereas Tyler Reddick is 14th. But it's tough. Like we said, it seems like something's happening to Ryan Blaney left and right after a solid 5 race stretch, really, where he finished in the top 5 in 4 out of those 5. Turns around and puts a 38th place finish, but he just got caught up. That wasn't his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. He was actually flying through the field at that point, coming up and just hitting bad luck. So for me, I'm going to take Ryan Blaney. He has finished in the top 10 in 2 out of his 4 races in this. Of course, the other 2 he's crashed out. So it literally is just bad luck Blaney. So I'm going to take Reddick's bad luck is going to be worse than Blaney's bad luck and give that to me minus 125 over at ESPN Bet.
This is starting to feel like that Keselowski-Busch matchup that was being offered to us every week, Rod. And Keselowski finally broke the streak. He ended up having some good luck for once. Daniel says, as a Blaney fan, he hopes his luck turns around soon. And Brandon checking in too and saying Blaney back to the top 3 this week. Feels it in his bones. Yeah, I mean, Reddick did look good last week, which was kind of the first time that really any of the 2311 has looked good on the mile and a halves. We still cashed that Byron over on bet, luckily. But yeah, it's 2311's not looked good lately, really. I mean, we talked about that 13th place by Heim. That was the best finish of 2311 guys at Kansas, I'm pretty sure. So pretty rough, but yeah, I'd like the Blaney.
Sour D wants to know where's Brad versus FKB, right? Where is that at? It's nowhere, but we used to get it a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, FKB or just KB, if you could please remove the F in the middle.
It's not KFB, it's FKB.
We like to be
Yes, we
proper
do.
around here.
All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Well, next up for me, Rod, you know how much I have fallen in love with Josh Berry. I feel like this is just like the turn. The story has turned, right? I started the season hating Chase Briscoe, hating Josh Berry, and now I no longer hate either of those guys. And yeah, I love Josh Berry. Plus 160 for a top 10 finish, Rod. Last week was very interesting from Penske. We didn't really see the speed we've been seeing. Also, Roger Penske pulled the plug on 3 guys at the very top of the IndyCar team that were like legacy guys. They've been there for 100 years. You never thought those guys would be fired. Was that a message to these teams to dial it back a little bit and not push the limits at all? Who knows? But we're a week away from that, right? That's all in the dust. 3 other cars got disqualified at Indy. Stories moved on. We're not worried about it anymore. I think they're going to be fine this week. I was at that Kansas race. Josh Berry was the fastest car there. I know on TV, all you saw was Kyle Larson kicking everybody's ass. Josh Berry's car was so fucking fast. Even last week, when Penske was on their little hiatus from pushing the limits, still finished in 12th place. So still really close to getting there when we didn't see much out of those. 6th place at Kansas at the end of the day, fought back from that speeding penalty, still finished there. Just such a fast car. It was amazing how fast it was. 32nd at Texas, but remember, he was leading that race when he spun out there, and he won earlier this season at Las Vegas. Last year in this race, 17th place with 2 laps to go. Not too bad. He was right. That was in the 4 car. He replaced Kevin Harvick over there, but they were on, leaving at the end of the year, all that stuff. So decent enough run. Everything I've seen out of him this year, I love. I don't think you can pass up on Josh Berry at plus 160, especially for a top 10. Brandon had guessed that I drop the Ryan Preece top Ford. I am not going to drop that today, but I do have Ryan Preece as a top 10 finisher at plus 200 because, well, why wouldn't you bet on Ryan Preece at this point, right? 16th place here in 2023 when he was in the 41 car. So a solid run in that one. Just finished 9th at Charlotte last week. That's a top 10. 7th at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. That's a top 10. 9th at Miami, another mile and a half, top 10. 3rd at Las Vegas. That's in the top 10. And just overall, top 10 of 5 of the last 9 races so far this season. It's been having a great, great season. All of the speed we've seen out of RFK for the most part, although Brad's entering the conversation. I know you want to retire him, Rod, but entering the conversation a little bit. He's shown some speed lately. Got a good finish finally last week. I'm in on the Preece top 10 at plus 200. And JDK bringing up the Berry surprisingly only 3 top 10 finishes this year. So that's the part where you could kind of, go back and be like, well, yeah, he runs good and he's fast, but the finishes haven't quite been there. I get it, right? I get where that could cause some apprehension, but as fast as that car's been, as good as that car's been, I would feel silly not to have the top 10. If something happens and he doesn't get in there, fine, but he should be a top 10 car based on just about everything we've seen, with the exception of last week. They just didn't quite have it in those cars. But also, if you look back at Penske's history, and I think it was Jordan Bianchi was on Dale Jr. Download today, and I listened to the first part of the show earlier, but he was talking about, in the past, Penske's not really been great at Charlotte anyways, for whatever reason. So I'm not overly worried about that. So give me the Josh Berry top 10 at plus 160, and give me the Ryan Preece top 10 at
I am fully backing you on both of these. And just so you know, I was late to the dock. So Cody's like the Costco folks they buy up all the eggs and don't leave me any eggs whatsoever to buy. So.
There's so many good eggs this week. Right? I opened the books and I was just like, I'll take some of that and I'll take some of that and throw 4 of those in the cart and give me one of this. And then, the store was pretty empty by the time you got there. You should have stocked up on toilet paper earlier.
This is a lesson to you kids that the hoarding is real, because by the time I got to the store, I was left with the 1-ply stuff. Leaves more damage.
Hey, I put a bet in the dock for you that I wanted to take myself, but I knew you would like, and it's still in there. So I'm assuming you're giving it out.
And I'll get to that in a second, because I absolutely appreciate you giving me at least one egg.
I was like, I really want this one too, but I'll let Rod
swear
take
to God, it was like the egg that barely had a crack in it, but you knew it was still good enough to take home. And I was like, I'll just leave this.
You make it tonight.
You'll be fine. The expiration date is like 2 seconds from now. You'll be all right. Just quit crying. But yeah, I will give you that bet and many more of my other bets, but we have to step away 1 second while I tell you about my friends over at Rhythm. CT Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. You could dominate the NBA playoffs, PGA, MLB, and just launch the WNBA. Rhythm knows you're going to love it. That's why they included a 7-day free trial. Building all of my models about Caitlin Clark because I want to be on every single bet that I can be on with Caitlin Clark. How many buckets, how many rebounds, how many assists? Is she going to be the MVP again? All that good stuff. I would definitely like Rhythm's helped on that one. So it's been helping me. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now, too. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off of annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Fantasy football season already underway. My spot in the Scott Fish Bowl locked up. I'm just trying to decide which division I actually want to be in. So got to figure that one out. But when I do, hopefully they've entered this contest so we can win a free draft party in Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for the entire stay. What do you get when you win? Well, you got a 2-night stay at the Circa Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league. 6 double king rooms, guys. So start making those notebooks and see who's going to bed with who. Plus, you get limo transportation to and from the airport, a welcome party at Legacy Club for the league, a reservation for the world's largest sportsbook with $500 beverage credit for the league. You get a 2-hour open bar package for the league at Overhang Bar. I don't know if all that's enough for you to enter, but it better be. And when you do, you enter before June the 30th because the contest is going on right now. How do you enter? Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. We are also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. So for the true degens out there, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. You get easy deposit, lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. Canadian Football League already started the preseason. I am pumped. Ottawa Redblacks plus 720 to hoist the Grey Cup this season. I am a diehard fan of the red and black, so please give me Ottawa Redblacks plus 720 to hoist the Grey Cup. All right, I know that's a far-fetched, but I'm still with it. I'm definitely going to cheer all season long for my Ottawa Redblacks to win. You should, too, put a little money down on it on MyBookie. Head to MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's MyBookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. I've been considering, because it's not like I already have enough work that I do every day, but restarting my my Wood Cookie Sawcast podcast just to have fun, podcasting some more because I can't get enough of it. So I don't know. There's a market out there. I'll do it.
Sounds
yeah, it does. I love that little show. That was a fun little show. Love talking to the Red Blacks out there. So yeah, go Red Blacks and throw a little money on MyBookie. It'll definitely be worth your while. So, all right. My next bet is going to be another head-to-head matchup, but this time it is between manufacturers. I'm going to take Ford over Toyota. This one's an interesting one because Ford is plus 145 over Toyota, right? And so when you think about it, you're like, nah, we got Denny Hamlin that you think is probably going to win this race. You've got all of but we just talked about how the 2311 cars have been struggling lately. Honestly, that there was 3 of the 4 Joe Gibbs cars up there in the top 10 for most of last night's or Sunday night's race. I get that, but that's the first time we've seen all the Joe Gibbs cars actually performing at a high level other than maybe Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin for the most part, right? And then the legacy guys, they're top 10 cars and all that, but they're top 10 cars. They're not top 5 cars yet or top 3 cars yet. So I don't know that they're going to kind of get up there yet. So those 3 teams have holes, right? Yeah, of course the Ford teams have holes as well, but you got guys like Ryan Blaney, who we talk about just consistently being good until he's not, right? And then you've got Brad Keselowski, who you say is coming on. Well, Brad Keselowski may be coming on. You got Joey Logano that could be out there as well. And if you look back at these races, in 2021 in the Ally 400, Ford finished in 4th place. The first Toyota after that was in 9th place, which was Christopher Bell. So it was Eric Almirola and Kevin Harvick, Stuart Haas Fords that finished above the Christopher Bell in 9th place. 2022, okay, fine. Toyota got them by 1 spot. Kurt Busch, you guys remember that guy, Hall of Famer, Kurt Busch, finishing 1 spot above Ryan Blaney. Kurt Busch finishing 2nd, Ryan Blaney finishing 3rd. And then it was Denny Hamlin in 6th and Austin Cindric in 7th in that race. But 2023, it was a Toyota Martin Truex Jr. Still not, I mean, he's not racing anymore. But the first Ford was Brad Keselowski all the way in 11th. That was rough. But last year, Joey Logano, right? That Ford that outlasted everybody else. Doesn't matter how he did it. I don't care if he was a camel and he had all of the gas in his little hump and was carrying it around for the rest of the race. He still ended up doing it. But I feel like this is intriguing because you can get a situation in which you see a Ryan Blaney or a Joey Logano or, a Brad Keselowski if it acts, or a Ryan Preece, right? Somebody finishing, because the Chevy may have just a deadlock on this one, and I'll talk about that later on. But this could be a Chevy race. So what you're banking on is that a Ford finishes somewhere in the top 3 and edges out a Toyota. So I'm going to take that, especially at plus money, plus 145. I like this bet.
Yeah, I don't mind the plus 145 side of it. Toyota has elite top drivers, though, and Ford has Ryan Blaney. That's the only person I would put in that elite top. Okay, Joey Logano, I guess. But, I mean, obviously that's just the weirdest fucking thing about Joey Logano. Like, he's an all-time great. He's a 3-time champion, like still super young, ton of wins. But on a week-to-week basis, he doesn't really compete elite level like. So I don't know. I'm big on a certain Toyota to win this, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I don't know. But the plus 145 argument, I definitely can get that. And look, the speed we've seen out of the Penske cars at the 1.5 miles, the tracks like this outside of last week, I think that definitely could be a help as well. So I don't hate it, I guess I'll go with.
Okay, but look, Zane Smith is the best average finisher in the heat chart ranking for iFantasy. Oh, he's only got 1 race here and he finished 2nd. Never mind. But no, I get it. I mean, besides Denny Hamlin, it's like the next guy on the averages as far as the heat chart goes. It's Denny Hamlin, yeah, but again, it's just you'll talk about him a little bit. I know that. But then Chase Elliott,
and
Joey Logano, Ryan Preece.
I mean,
yeah,
just like last week, like we take Briscoe and he's not the best Toyota. Denny was clearly the best Toyota, but look what happens at the end of the race, right? That's the type of thing you're looking for too. And they just don't get fuel in the car. I mean, it's such a simple mistake, but it's happened to him multiple times, and stuff like that helps you cash these types of bets. So I get it. Emerald City Racing, Rod, pounding the drum over here for the John Hunter Nemechek top 10, as well as most of the chat, as well as the Discord. This is the 14-1 on Bet365. Holy shit, what are we doing? I kind of mentioned this at the top of the show when I was talking about Heim is plus 300 and Nemechek is 14-1. I just don't understand. I think he's like 10-1 on DraftKings. ESPN has not dropped their top 10s yet. Those are usually pretty good when they come out. But if you have access to Bet365, I get down on this. He started 6th place last week at Charlotte. He looked really good early in the race. 600 miles got to him, right? That extra bit we talked about at the end, he didn't have it in him. It got to him, and he hits the wall, kind of destroys the car and ruins the day overall. But they had the speed in the car. That's what you love to see. 10th place at Kansas. The last time we were on 1.5 miles, not too long ago, 10th place at Kansas. The time before that, on 1.5 miles, 8th place at Texas. 2 of the last 3.5 miles, he's finished in the top 10. The other one, he started in the top 10. And he's 14-1. This makes absolutely no sense. We have seen outside of Jimmy Johnson last week, RIP to him, just can't figure out this new car, which it's like Bianchi was talking about that too. He's one of the most inexperienced, crazy to say, Rod, but one of the most inexperienced guys out there because he's hardly raced this car when he's the greatest driver in NASCAR history. But we've seen the speed out of Nemechek. His teammate, Rod, oh yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But John Hunter Nemechek should not be 14-1. Absolutely insane. JDK says it's boosted to 16-1 on 365. Holy shit. Let's fucking go. Snap that shit up early. It's not going to last. I mean, the top Toyota bet last week was 90-1, I think, when we gave it on the show. By the time later on in the week, it was like 40-1. It got eaten down quickly. So yeah, get in on that early. By the way, did win the Xfinity race here, leading 76 laps last season as well. So knows his way around this track. You love that. I saw our friend Sage Rod somewhere up here was talking about somebody being better than Ty Dillon, though. Not a lot of people have been that much better than Ty Dillon, especially not, Rod, when he's 25-1 for a top 10 finish over on Hard Rock. If you have Hard Rock, 25-1. This is insane. He just finished 19th place in Charlotte. I understand it's not a top 10, but for a car that is running a good race and has looked good, he's been good all season really, and he's been close enough. 19th when you're hitting 25-1 and you're only 9 spots out of it. What could possibly happen? Could we get 5 overtimes at this track, Rod? We've never seen that happen before, right? What if something like that happens, right? 25-1, insane. 35th at Kansas, but he had some speed there, got caught up in a wreck, wrong place, wrong time. 12th place at Texas, 16th place at Darlington, 21st at Vegas. I've seen enough out of Ty Dillon. I know these bets haven't hit yet, but you keep getting them at this big of a number. He's going to pop up and snag one of these weeks. You want to be on it when you get to it. So yeah, give me Ty Dillon at 25-1. And King saying that's a bad excuse. He got outraced by 18-year-old Zilich. Zilich is a next level talent for one. So props to him on that. Yes, did miss that head-to-head because I believe that was the one I had, unfortunately. But this race is not 600 miles. It's only 400 miles, and I believe he outraced Zilich in the first 400 miles last week, so I'm not too worried about that. So, yeah, John or Nemechek, top 10. Should not be 14-1. Should not be anywhere close to this. I love this bet. And going back to the Ty Dillon, well, 25-1.
Yeah, for John Hunter Nemechek, I got to tell you, that Legacy Motor Club, I love that they're coming on. I love that you see Jones, you see Nemechek, and they're over there just battling for a top 10 spot. And it's good to see, and it's good for the sport, in my opinion, to see these guys kind of catching up to. I mean, they almost outperformed 23-11 for the most part because both of their guys were legit top 10 contenders pretty much all night long. So I absolutely love it. You talk about one colleague driver, Cody. Let me move to the other guy, the guy that was already placed in the dock for me. Thank you very much for that egg that was not quite broken, but still usable the day that I bought it, which was AJ Allmendinger, my spirit driver. Somebody brought him up. Daniel77 brought him up. AJ Allmendinger, top 10 plus 350. Yes, he was in my card. Thank you, Cody, for giving me this bet, but I would have taken it anyways. AJ Allmendinger, top 10 plus 350. Look, AJ Allmendinger, like I said, he's my spirit driver. 4th place last week in Charlotte, 600 miles. Well, let's just already pat him on the back for keeping it together emotionally for 600 miles. Because we know AJ Allmendinger, when presented with some obstacles, can sometimes lose his mind, but he did not. He started 5th and moved up a spot and ended up finishing 4th. I think, did I give him out in the DFS? I believe I gave him out in the DFS episode. Yeah, and I knew that because, like I said, he had been sneakily good over there at Charlotte. Well, guess what? He's sneakily good at Nashville as well. As far as top 10 finishes are concerned, well, last year he got an 11th place finish, 1 spot outside of the top 10. Yes, that was Fuelgate. I understand that, but it's still AJ Allmendinger driving from, listen to this, 28th to 11th, and he led a lap in that whole span too. So it wasn't necessarily all that much of a fluke. And how much of a fluke was it not? I'm pulling up his loop data right here. So when you talk about 2014 at Nashville, all right, he mid-race, he started 4th, mid-race was 3rd, finished 7th, high position was 2nd, right? And then, that's an Xfinity Series. Never mind. He was fast in Xfinity too, which is my next point. 7th place finish in 2014. He won this race in 2023, 16th place finish in 2022. Yeah, but he started 2nd, so he had speed there. And then a 5th place finish in 2021, led 73 laps in the Xfinity race. I mean, look, AJ Allmendinger is just one of those guys that he's going to catch on. And when he catches on again, he's going to be really good. So, so 2014, now I've got the right data in front of me. Rod's looking at the right screen. Mid-race, he was 25th, but he ended up finishing 11th. He did lead this. His average position was 23rd. But yeah, I mean, he spent just about 26 laps in the top 15. But it doesn't matter how you get there, right? As long as you get there. And AJ tends to get there when he can keep it all together. Plus 350 for a top 10 for a guy that just finished fourth last week in the longest race in NASCAR history. I'll take all of that, please.
I am just kicking myself so much. I had AJ written down on my notes last week. I was going to look at it, but we were coming off of 2 races of engine troubles. He was bitching about ECR engines on the radio, and I was like, because 600 miles, like the perfect race for AJ, and it showed up. And he was great all day. Like, he was running up front throughout the day, looked great, scored a ton of points. By the way, Rod, 17th in the regular season standings right now, 2 points outside of the top 16, which is just, I mean, they're having such a great season. By the way, Mexico's coming up, Chicago's coming up, Sonoma's coming up, like great, the traditional tracks you think of him. But he is such a good driver on the ovals, and they need to keep capitalizing, and he is 100% racing for points at this point in time. I love this bet. I had it on my side of the dock. I wanted to add more bets. I saw you were filling out your bets, so I moved it over to your side. Glad you kept it. I know the Discord has been all over this one as well, so love the AJ.
I cannot wait to see him at Sonoma. I am so stoked. I will like, I know I can't be unprofessional, but boy, it's going to be so hard to not be, or to maintain my professionalism and just be like, AJ, you're my spirit driver. I absolutely love you. But if you see that I don't ever get credentials again, you'll know why.
Fun fact, Rod, AJ, the same exact size, which is very small. Laura, by the way, Rod, is wondering if you're going to attend Sonoma. They are thinking about it. You should go, Laura, even if Rod's not going to be there. But I believe Rod is planning on being there as long as everything works out. Army doesn't get in the way as they've done before. So you always have that asterisk in there. But you know what else Rod's looking forward to this weekend? He is looking forward to top Toyota bets. It worked for us last week with Mr. Briscoe. I saw some people bringing it up in the chat earlier. They've adjusted. He's down to plus 650 this week, right? We're going to stick to the system that has been taking care of us, Rod. Look, I expect Denny Hamlin, and spoiler alert, he's in my outrights. I love Denny Hamlin this week. I expect him to go win this race. I think that he probably will. But we saw it last week. They just don't get the fuel in there, right? That's what it was. A couple of weeks ago, the engine expires. A couple of weeks before that, something else. Problems happen to these guys up top. Christopher Bell, Marcus mentioned at the very top of the show, dominated this race, swept the stages last year, but then wrecked the car late. Like, things happen to these top Toyotas. And again, it continues to bring so much value in such a small group betting on these longer shots. So I'm going to start off at 14-1 with Tyrone Gibbs. That's right. Ty Gibbs. Rod, looking at last year's stats, the stats I'm going off of, 2 laps to go, he was in 5th place. He was the second Toyota. Denny was leading at that point in time, but second Toyota in the race, 5th place finish. That's what I'm giving him credit for. He just started 6th and 7th place at Charlotte and Kansas. They've got the speed in the car. The results have been the struggle, right? And that's where we've had the issues with Ty Gibbs. He qualifies well. He looks fast in practice at all these races. I think he was fastest in practice at Kansas, all this stuff. And then, something happens, and they did have to start the back in Kansas and had some other issues, but something happens, and this goes wrong and that goes wrong. Things can happen. But if Ty Gibbs hits, when he does hit, he can hit good. He finishes 3rd place at Bristol. He finishes 9th place at Darlington. He has these good runs. He's 5th with 2 laps to go, and going to finish 5th place if we don't go to 5 overtimes at this race last year. So give me Mr. Gibbs at 14-1. And John Hunter Nemechek is 100-1, Rod. Hit the back button a little bit. Think about all the wonderful things I just said about Nemechek. Should not be 100-1. Get this early in the week. 100-1 over on Caesars. Do not wait on this bet because it will get hammered down, and it will get hammered down quickly. Should not be 100-1. That's really all I need to go with that. Top Ford. Going to go back to this market as well. Again, we've talked about it, right? Top of the Ford market is kind of strange. You got Blaney, but you talked about all the struggles he's had. Logano, is he racing Kyle Larson for first, or is he racing Cody Ware for last? Nobody knows, right? Could be somewhere in between. Brad, sometimes fast. Buscher's just not been himself lately. I don't know. Oh, my goodness, Rod, the Gibbs fan.
No, I was going to get back to that one in a second. So continue on.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. We'll continue with the Ford bets, and then we'll talk about it some more. Oh, boy, we're down hard right now, Rod. It's not good. But anyways, Josh Berry plus 750. I talked about him earlier, right? Such a fucking fast car at Kansas. He's looked the part. He's looked good. I want to bet on guys that look that good, that look that fast at plus 750. And then Noah Gragson is 28-1. I know he was mentioned by King in the chat over there for a top 10 bet. I don't mind that. I like this top Ford angle at 28-1. 10th place run last week at Charlotte, 14th at Kansas. Had some good, strong runs. Noah's Ark, as it's been named over in the Discord chat from JDK there. Let's see. He had a 6th place finish at Las Vegas last year, a 6th place finish at Dover last year, a 9th place finish at Kansas last year. So we saw some flashes, even in that Stewart-Haas equipment going away, right? The old Amarola car that he was in. Some good runs on some very comp tracks. Been strong enough here lately. 14th at Kansas, 10th place last week. I like the little bits of hopes, little bits of hope I've seen from Gragson. 28-1 for the top Ford market. I do like it. And another thing I was looking at too, last year in that 2 laps to go, the top running Ford was 9th place Chris Buescher. That's where you were at. And then Justin Haley was 10th in the 51 car, which I wanted to bet on Haley this week. I couldn't find a way to do it, but he was in the Cody Ware in the Cody Ware car, the Rick Ware car. Those were your top 2 Fords. You had to go all the way down to 14th for Joey Logano after that. So that's to speak to why this top Ford market can look like this, and maybe a little bit against your top Ford bet earlier, or your Ford over Toyota bet earlier, but 9th place with 2 laps to go. So if it had ended before overtime, 9th place would have been the top finishing Ford, which is very doable by Josh Berry, by Noah Gragson.
So for Ty Gibbs, and this is where when you lose your biggest fan, by the way, you are in trouble. 2 top 10 finishes in 13 starts. When do you start to just say it's a lost cause at this point? Because I get you get the 3rd place at Bristol. I get you get the 9th place at Darlington, but that was it. Outside of that, you get a 32nd at Atlanta, 34th at Coda, 25th at Phoenix, 22nd at Vegas, 25th at Miami, and then the last 3 weeks at mile and a half. Sure, he started with speed, but you got to finish. Guys, 23rd, 28th, 24th. There is nothing about Gibbs that makes me ever want to put any sort. Now, granted, you can cheer for him, but this is, and of course, listen, this is where you separate the betting from the fandom, right? Again, I don't hate Ty Gibbs. Just don't bet money on Ty Gibbs because you're not going to win.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. I know I just gave out a bet on him, but you're not wrong. And I think you look at his top 10 as plus 140, I wouldn't touch that because like a Joey Logano, what are we going to get from Ty Gibbs? Are we going to get the guy who's fast as fuck in practice and qualifies well and has shown little tiny glimpses of being able to run up front? There's been multiple times where he's running up front and you're like, this is the week. And then something always happens. And that's the part that's frustrating. That's the part that sucks. But that's why you don't take the plus 140 for the top 10. At 14-1 in the top Toyota market, Rod, that's where it's like, okay, you're getting a big enough number. If he just comes out and sucks, oh well, right? It was 14-1. It's not supposed to happen anyways. But if he does hit and he's running in 5th place like he was last year, or he's running in 3rd place like he was at Bristol, or whatever, 5th place, whatever I said, he can put it together. He's in a Joe Gibbs car. We know the talent is there, right? As much as he's sucked recently, as much as he's been horrible, I get it. But we know the talent is there. We know he's in a good car. They just have to put a race together. And if they can, I think there's a little bit of value, at least, in the number where it's at for what.
Me and King are on the same page. I no longer care. It just doesn't matter anymore. There's no joy.
Laura liked my argument, Rod. She said that she says, oops, too late. I already bet Gibbs. Shout out to her for that. Andrew as well says he'd like to see what any other driver could do in the Gibbs ride for 1 week. Go back and look at the end of Kyle Busch's time in that car. It wasn't good.
I know what Chase Briscoe could do. He could do a little bit better in that one. But all right, I am going to take the winning manufacturer. I don't normally do this, but again, Cody took every single driver that was out there possible. So I had to actually pick cars instead of just drivers. But winning manufacturer for me, I'm going to take the Chevy as the winning manufacturer in 4 races that we have had in the the Cup Series on this particular track. 3 of the 4 have been Chevrolets. That's right. Logano was the only Ford that won this race. Outside of that, it was Kyle Larson, it was Chase Elliott, It was Ross Chastain. And listen to me when I say that all three of these guys, well, okay, two of the three of these guys have the absolute possibility of doing this again. In fact, one of them is red hot. I would have taken him, but he was already taken in the dock. And I'm all over this guy this week again. But I do believe that there will be a Chevy at the top of the heap again. And in fact, I think it's another Chevy too that has another shot of getting this done. That's at a really fantastic number. But again, when you look at just even these last few races with your eyes, as you watch with your eyes and you see which drivers are struggling to put an entire race together, because let's not get it twisted, guys. You got to get an entire race together. Denny Hamlin not putting an entire race together. Tyler Reddick not putting an entire race together. All of your guys' favorite person in the entire world, Carson Hocevar, not putting an entire race together. It doesn't matter.
Oh, he was so fast last week, Rod.
It doesn't matter how fast he was. He still didn't end up finishing the race. It doesn't matter how fast you are if your car can't keep up with you. And again, what did his other teammates finish the race? Well, yeah, so that must not have been necessarily a trouble with Spire equipment. That just had to have been.
Well, he blew his motor, Rod.
And learn to drive not blowing your motor. Like, that's what you got to do. Anyways, you got to put together a complete and total race. And there's a lot of guys that you can, point out in these other Ford and Toyota camps, which again are not as deep as the Chevy camp, right? That are not putting together total races together. So I'm thinking that Chevy can keep it together for the length of this race long enough to have one of their drivers cross the finish line. And at plus 125, this is not a bad price for what Chevy usually is, right? Which is closer to even money, if not below. So yeah, give me the Chevy winning manufacturer plus 125.
Yeah, I don't mind this. As big as I am on Denny Hamlin, you can bet him and then bet this. Our buddy Phil does that a lot. He'll start with his manufacturer bet so that he's covered with Larson and Byron and Elliott and Chastain and all of these Chevrolet drivers. And then also, bet on then he crafts his outrights, I guess, the opposite of that. So he's covered in multiple ways. So if you want to take a Denny Hamlin, like I'm about to in a minute, and then you're also covered on the Chevy side of things. So
when did I turn into The Rock? Like, I want to know when I ended up turning into The Rock. Is it watching too much WWE? Am I doing that too much? Because I feel like I turned into The Rock at this point. It don't matter how fast he is.
It don't matter. Speed does matter, Rod. I asked the chat for car lift predictions. A couple of guesses that were not correct, but JDK nailed it. That's right. We're going with the Eric Jones car lift this week, friends. All right. It's a little bit of a sketchy car lift. So let's make sure we strap the car down as we put it on the lift. But this is one of those car lifts where you go a little bit lighter, right? Everything in this car lift is a long shot. So not supposed to happen, but I fell in love with Eric Jones this week, Rod. As I was doing my research, he just kept popping to the top of everything, and I could not wait to bet on him. I'm going to take his top 10 as 6-1. That's a great number, right? That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping he gets a top 10 finish at 6-1. That's what's going to make us money. But what if he finishes in the top 5 at 18-1? All right, I like it. We're talking. Let's take it. Top finishing Toyota, 65-1. Have they watched anything lately, Roddy? Was just the top finishing Toyota a couple of races ago at Texas. What are we doing? And, I wasn't going to take his outright because I don't know that Eric Jones can win this race. But 150-1? Why couldn't Eric Jones win this race, Rod? Why couldn't he? I believe Zane Smith finished second here last year. Like, kind of had some different weird stuff because of the 5 overtimes. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. But Eric Jones, a guy that I really like. Had suspension issues last year out of the race early. Again, things like that, Rod might tell you differently, but you can't control those. But in the other races here, 8th place finish in 2023, a nice solid run there. 11th place in 2022. So 2 of the 3 races, the 2 that he completed, good runs, right? 1 spot out of the top 10, and then inside of the top 10 with the 8th. He's coming off a 13th place run last week. Did you know that, Rod? Probably not. You don't hear much about him. Again, quiet and just quietly putting it together. 13th last week. 5th place at Texas, where he was the top finishing Toyota in that race. Legacy Motor Club has had the speed this year. They are not the Legacy Motor Club that we had gotten used to over the last couple of years. We saw this the first year of the next gen car, 2022. Eric Jones comes out and he's like the fastest guy at Auto Club, which was the second race of the season. And you're like, whoa, what's going on here? He finished like third place in that race. He goes on to win at Darlington in the 43 car, and you're like, holy shit, the 43 car just won like a regular race. What's going on here? They fell off a little bit, right? We went through some stuff. We made the switch to Toyota last year. That was kind of rough. Jimmy Johnson comes in, makes all these hires, makes all these changes. Things are fucking working. Not when Jimmy gets in the car, but for everybody else, Rod, it's working. And it's been great for Jones. It's been great for John Hunter Nemechek. And I think this team can continue to be doing what they've been doing, which is getting inside of the top 10, getting really close to the top 10. He's been good at this track. The last, again, issue last year, part of that deal was switching to Toyota and having all the issues. But the other two races, really strong, good runs by Eric Jones. So we're running the Eric Jones car lift this week, Rod. Top 10 at 6-1, top 5 18-1, top Toyota 65-1, 150-1.
You will not catch me besmirching the name of Legacy Motor Club. And it's funny because Richard Petty may end up wearing that shirt, but we know who's in charge, and that is the 7-time NASCAR champion, Jimmy Johnson. I'm 100% behind him and any of his drivers, especially because, again, like we talked about this season, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they put extra juice in there. I don't know if what they did, but they've made this team fast, and they've made it a contender, at least a top 10 contender each and every week, which is a far cry from where, I mean, we were literally just saying, we were probably taking every head-to-head that we could against the Legacy class. We were, fading them at any chance we had. This year, you can't do that because they are definitely showing the speed, and I'm all about Legacy Motor.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year we were talking about, does John Hunter Nemechek get replaced? Like, did he bring it back? Is it, things were just not good, and now, look, we've bet on the guy like 8 weeks in a row. It's crazy because it's been a massive turnaround, and the books this is one of those things where it's been a massive turnaround, but it's a quiet enough turnaround that they're not super paying attention, and it's not been overly consistent, right? He's not been top 10 in every mile and a half, but he's had the runs, the 5th place at Texas, the other things that are enough of a sign to show you that these bets are
and again, it's just, to me, it's funny because I had a hard time in the Xfinity Series getting behind John Hunter Nemechek, but here I am cheering for him. And this goes to show you guys, ladies and gentlemen, that I can change my mind when I need to. Maybe Carson Hocevar ends up winning me over someday, and we're all good to go on that front. But it'll take a little bit for him to do that for me. But all right, I am going to go to my favorite bet, and that is the winning car number. In this instance, I just took the even side of this because, to me, like, the odd side of it was juiced, and I didn't really want to take the juice side of it. And I feel like you have just as much a chance, especially in this particular race, to catch the even side of this as well, because it gives you guys like Austin Cindric, who's had a bit of speed lately. Gives you Noah Gragson, who, listen, we talked about him being a top 10 car, but don't look now. I think he's catching on. I think Noah Gragson might actually be settling down enough to where he could just legitimately be a top 5 contender on a week-to-week basis without us even realizing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's where he's doing it and everybody's like, oh, no, Gragson, had so much trouble. But he could definitely be growing in front of our eyes. It gives you Brad Keselowski if he accidentally catches fire. It gives you Kurt Busch if you want the torture of cheering for Kurt Busch to win this race. Ty Dillon, Kyle Busch. I see Kurt Busch finished what? Second?
Kurt Busch, he did have a good run here back in the day. You might actually have a better chance if Kurt's running this race than Kyle.
You know what's the problem is? I read his name earlier in the show, so he's fresh in my head. I was like, Kurt Busch. I read his name. But it gives you, Ty Dillon, Ryan Blaney, AJ Allmendinger if he accidentally wins this race, Christopher Bell, who Marcus would love if that happened, Logano. It gives you Byron. It gives you Todd Gilliland on accident. Zane Smith if he ends up winning it. John Hunter if he outlasts everybody, if his fuel tank is big as Joey Logano. It gives you some pretty heavy hitters in there. Alex Bowman, if he continues on.
Don't skip JJ Yaley like that, Rod. I know you were going.
I was going in numerical order. I saw JJ Yaley right behind you, and I was like, no, thank you. But it also gives you, kids, if you're counting, the 54 car. This is my one endorsement if the 54 car actually wins this race. But no, listen, to me, all this comes down to is, as much of a coin flip as this could be, this is definitely a coin flip in my opinion, because there's guys like William Byron that we'll talk about here in a second. There's guys like Denny Hamlin that we'll talk about in a second. Like, there's plenty of opportunity on either end of the spectrum for them to win. It's not heavily weighted in one side's favor. So I'm going to take the better side of this and hope for a plus 110 for an even car to win.
Well, Rod, I have 4 outrights, and they're all odd-numbered
I
cars.
did that on purpose,
so,
Cody. I took the other side of you, my friend.
All right, so obviously I gave you the Eric Jones 150 to 1 already. Denny Hamlin 6 to 1 over on ESPN. That's the best number I'm seeing. It's not been good for Denny lately. Nothing about it's been good. Do not look at his recent race results because it's tough. But another point of we've seen everything I need to see. He was going to win this race with 2 laps to go, running away with it, passed Chastain late in the race, led 70 laps, on his way to win. Then we go to 5 overtimes, and he doesn't make it. Ends up running out of fuel at some point, as most of the field did. 2023, led 81 laps here, finished in 3rd place. 2022, led 114 laps here, finished in 6th place. All 3 next-gen races here, he's led at least 81 laps. He has looked good. He has looked fast, and he's been strong. Something happens at the end of each of them that keeps him out of it, which is tough, but he's due to win here at Nashville. And he's just due to win in general. He probably could have won last week in the Coke 600. He was so fast. We saw Chastain get around Byron. He could have probably got around Byron as well, but they just don't get fuel in the tank. And I get if you don't want to bet on him because of mistakes like that, it makes sense. But he had a fast car. He looked really good. He was super fast at Kansas. Probably one of the only guys who could have hung with Kyle Larson. Has a mechanical issue. Has a mechanical issue at Texas, right? It's just been brutal for him lately. But 2nd place at Bristol, he won at Darlington, and he's been fast lately. I think he puts it all together. By the way, Jordan, his wife, are they married now? I can't remember. She's due, he's probably having a baby this weekend. He's going to get the baby bump. It's all lining up. This is Denny Hamlin's fucking week. He's getting a guitar in Nashville. He's going to go home to Denny Hamlin Jr., and all is going to be right in the Denny Hamlin world. So give me Denny Hamlin. Rod, I'm taking Ross Chastain. You mentioned earlier you wanted him. I stole him from you. He is currently 12 to 1. Somebody said it in the chat earlier. Do not bet on Ross Chastain to win this race yet. Wait for Ross Chastain to qualify like shit, because he is going to qualify like shit. The number will get bigger. He, outside of super speedways and road courses, 17th is the best starting position he's had all season. It has not been good, but if you look at all the numbers, it's insane how good he is at getting the best out of what he's been given where he starts. Like, I think he's got I don't have all the stats in front of me, but it was like most passes gained on restarts was him, and most passes based on where you start, or improvements in finishing position based on where you start. It's all of him, everything about it. He's also been really fucking good here. With 2 laps to go last year, in 2nd place. He led 45 laps before Denny got him late. 2023, he won this race, led 99 laps. 5th place here in 2022. So both of these guys I've given you at the top of the board, really fucking good in all 3 of these races. He just won last week. He's coming off of that. 2nd place at Texas. You know, there's been some comments about, they don't have speed. They do have speed, not in qualifying. But in the race, he's shown up and he's putting it together, and he's just a fucking dog. Like, he gets it done. 7th place run at Bristol, 7th place run at Darlington, 5th place run at Vegas. He's been good. Last year, he won Kansas in the fall, another high-speed mile and a half, 7th place at Las Vegas. It's been good stuff out of Ross Chastain lately, so love him at 12 to 1. Chase Elliott, 18 to 1, floating around out there. Won this race in 22, 4th place in 23. Last year wasn't as good, but 6th place run last week. He was fast at Kansas, 5th place run at Dover last year. I know I've given out Elliott quite a few weeks in a row. 18 to 1. It's too good to pass up again on, but you got to keep going. When I think of concrete, I think of Chase Elliott and Ricky Stenhouse. And I tried to find a way to bet on Stenhouse. He's not been good at Nashville for as good as he is at other concrete tracks, but Chase Elliott is the king of concrete, arguably. I mean, you could probably argue that. It's probably Denny Hamlin. But Chase Elliott's been good enough that at 18 to 1, I want to get it.
So I definitely love the Chastain aspect of this. And then again, I understand that it's difficult to win back-to-back races, but I believe if you go back, I think a couple of seasons in this show, you'll find that I've definitely been a fan of Ross Chastain. I'm not like the biggest Ross Chastain fan. I'm sure there's bigger out there, but I definitely love me some Ross Chastain. I love the heart. I love the drive. I know that I don't know if you can compare him to Carson Hocevar in the ego overall, but like I feel like Ross Chastain is the better version of what Noah Gragson needs to become.
Carson is what Ross was 2 years.
Yeah, Yes, maybe
100%. Yes, they're the same person.
No, I'm not doing that whole.
Yes, Ross was what Carson
Not
is
doing
right
that.
now, and he's matured and he's gotten
That Scooby-Doo
Yeah,
thing
it's
where
the
you pull
same
off the
drive,
mask
bro.
and it's the same.
No, you pull off the mask and it's Ross
No,
Chastain
thank
from
you.
2 years.
But I do agree with you on that one for sure. Hamlin, I don't know. There's a point where you too many times when you hit yourself in the foot, you're going to keep hitting yourself in the foot. So, Elliott is 13 for 13 in top 20s.
Yeah, and 13 for 13 top 20s. I mean, he is going. You're not going to worry most of the time about that bet wrecking itself from the lead 20 laps into the race like Kyle Larson. He's going to at least hang around all fucking day, have a shot, and hell, if we get to 5 overtimes, maybe.
Well, no. So Ross would have been my outright if I'd have gotten to the dock in time. However, I didn't. Therefore, I must pick another one, and that is William Byron. Not a bad guy to pick as well, especially at plus 750 over on Hard Rock, giving you a fantastic number. There's books out there that are giving you like plus 625 or 600 or closer to that. Hard Rock giving you plus 750 for William Byron, who I don't even have to make a case for him. He made a case for himself this Sunday. Just dominated the entirety of that entire race. Unfortunately, Charlotte, 600 miles. It's not 400 miles. It's 600 miles. It's not 500 miles.
We told you that extra mileage at the end is going to make a difference.
Really does too, and it's so
smells
frustrating because that was it. The race was just given away at the end of that. He got passed, and that was it. But on this track, not bad, right? 3rd place in 2021, 35th place in 2022. Does not support my theory that I will toss it out. 6th place in 2022 or 2023 rather, and then 19th in 2024. So this one's going to be. It'll be a sweat. I guarantee you right now. This is not going to be him running away with the Charlotte 600, I'm sorry, not the Charlotte 600, the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. It won't be this. It won't be a dominating race. But, again, as we've seen, 3 Chevys win in the last 4 years. And then, of course, some of them being the Hendrick Motorsports Chevys as well. I think he's got a good chance. This is where at the cusp, kids. We're almost at summer. Which if you turn the calendar on summer, all of a sudden, William Byron goes away. So we are just at the very end of this spring season where he can get it done before he fades back into oblivion until he comes back up again in the playoffs. So William Byron will run last shot. I mean, again, I'm full on Chastain, but I think if it's not William Byron, not only does he win and satisfy the plus 750, but he also satisfies the even number bet.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably nobody more pissed off in the field than Mr. William Byron is. So, yeah, rough. And yeah, I did. Oh my goodness, I saw that. Dale Tainart, who's another content creator out there that does NASCAR bets and stuff, he had some crazy parlay that if Byron would have won, he would have won like $12,000 and lost it. So brutal for that. And Sour D saying too, loves Ross but too short. Just to clarify, so I said to wait because I think you'll get a better number post-qualifying. But if you don't and 12-1 is what you get, I would still take him at 12-1 because he's been that fucking good coming off of a race like he had last week. If I have to settle for 12-1, I will. I think you'll get a discount post-qualifying. But, either way.
Again, for Ross Chastain, we're just riding the hot hand at this point because Ross Chastain is a hot hand. And when you give him a hot hand, watermelons beware. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of watermelons crying tonight because they're probably going to get smashed in the next few weeks of the season. So, all right. With that in mind, get out your watermelons and your pen and paper, and we are going to go over our race for this. Go over our bets for this Cracker Barrel 400 race. See if I can still talk by the end of this. Cody started you out with. Oh yeah, by the way, for those of you on YouTube, there's a graphic this week. I actually had time to put out a graphic. So, Cody started you off with Carson Hocevar to win the pole at 18-1. Chase Briscoe, also a pole bet at 40-1. Chase Briscoe over Joey Logano at plus 115, not minus 115. Blame it on the glasses. I need a new prescription. Sorry, guys. Josh Berry, top 10, plus 160. Ryan Preece as a top 10 car at plus 200. John Hunter Nemechek as a top 10 car at 14-1. Ty Dillon also at 25-1 for a top 10 run in this race. Top Toyota market for Cody. Ty Gibbs, 14-1. John Hunter Nemechek in the Legacy Motor Club Toyota at 100-1. Top Ford market, Josh Berry at plus 750. Noah Gragson at 28-1. For that one, he's riding the Eric Jones car lift. Dare I say, Eric Jones. We lost a lot of listeners just now. Top 10 car, 6-1. Top 5 car, 18-1. Top Toyota, 65-1. And to win the race, 150-1. Denny Hamlin is his outright at 6-1. Chastain, 12-1. Elliott at 18-1 to win this race. I gave you Ryan Blaney over Tyler Reddick at -125. I took Ford over Toyota at plus 145. Gave you AJ Allmendinger, which was put in my doc for some weird reason, and I'll still take it at plus 350. Chevy as the winning manufacturer at plus 125. Said the winning car number would be even at plus 110. Took William Byron at plus 750 to win the Cracker Barrel 400. Cody, how often do you go to Cracker Barrels?
Not as much as I would like to. Cracker Barrel is really a great place. Cracker Barrel I actually associate a lot with racing because like we would always, when I was going to races all over the place, all over the Midwest with my grandparents growing up, we'd always go to Cracker Barrel because they have every food you want. Like everybody's happy with going there. It's a wonderful place. And I need to get to Cracker Barrel again because some Mama's French toast is calling my name.
That mac and cheese, kids. In fact, I'm taking the family to Cracker Barrel this weekend, or at least when I get back from my Army weekend. But yeah, definitely taking him there, having a good meal. All right, that's it for the Cup Series. I mean, I know it was late. Thanks to all you guys for hanging out with us this late at night because the books.
Yeah, the chat was hopping tonight. So
the books, Cody, I swear to God, they have caught up to us. They know when we put out our show for sure. But you know what? Doesn't matter. We'll wait you out. We'll still put on a show that night.
That's right. But hey, if you could get the odds out early like today, that'd be great. Gives us time to make the bets, get the graphic put together,
yes,
all
please.
That fun stuff. So
we'll wait you out, but we would not do that. Yes. I gotta love it. King also one more time just saying no, just no. You know what? It's funny, you guys. I saved the worst singing voices for you guys because I actually do sing as part of my Army rock band. You guys just don't know it.
I thought it was beautiful.
All right, Cody. Well then, let's send everybody off. I know it's a late night. I'm sure they got some Netflix to chill and watch, and we can't stop you from that. Right. So let everyone know where they can find you on the outside.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. Great to see some new names in the chat tonight as well. So shout out to all of you. Yeah, Rod, find me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Tons and tons of content nonstop all the time. Check it all out. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Should hopefully be Trucks and Xfinity. If not, DFS Underdog, whichever we have the option to go with. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow. And best of luck this weekend. Let's catch the tickets.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bottom. Everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is at In Between Media. Make sure you check out Seth and Elliott. They're holding it down for you in this Nashville version of the NASCAR, of the betting picks and all that other good stuff going on in the back road. And then, of course, just everything else. There's a hodgepodge of craziness that goes on in my feed. Follow it there. Love all of you guys. I guarantee you right now, if we hit 1,000 over the next, I would like to reach 1,000 by July. Let's set a deadline of July 4th. Let's get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers by July 4th. Big things will happen if you get there. For those of you that are subscribed. So go tell your friends that now is the time to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Love each and every one of you. We will see you all tomorrow with more. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.